Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the Car Boot Crafter, and welcome back to my Countdown to Christmas series, looking at all things crafty to get us ready for the festive season. And this week we're looking at gift wrapping, so all sorts of ways to wrap your Christmas presents and Christmas gifts for family and friends. So today I'm doing a really simple gift bag by using two pieces of 12 by 12 papers. So you'll need two pieces of 12 by 12 papers. You'll need some ribbon. This is I think this is the Poundland ribbon from last year with their Christmas collection. Was it Christmas Moments, I think? And these are 12, 7, nearly 8, so almost 20 inches of ribbon there, but it depends on how big or small you want your handles. So two pieces of card stock that I've chosen, which have come from the it's the Works traditional Christmas paper stack, and I picked up a few of them last year because they'd gone to half price. I mean, £3 already is a brilliant price, and I think I picked up several of them when they first come out, and then when they were on sale I picked up a few more for this year's crafting projects. So this one's got an orientation. These are baubles, so I must be careful to make sure I score them in the right way. So I am using a scoreboard, but you don't have to. You could very easily use a ruler or a measure to do this. So first of all, I'm going to use my score tool, and I'm going to score. So this is my top. I'm going to score my top first. So pop that in there, and I'm going to score at 1.5 inches all the way down. So again, using my hoogie board because it doesn't jump, or if I do jump out of the score grooves, I'm not going to go very far. So I've done my first one, and then I'm going to rotate it, and I want this nice and wide, so I'm now going to score this at 3 inches, so all the way down on the other three sides. So this is the side at 3 inches, at the bottom at 3 inches. This makes a lovely wide bag, this does. Really useful for putting Christmas presents and gifts in. And again at 3 inches at this side, nice and wide. So that's that one done. And I'm just going to fold that down so I know where my top is. That is going to be contrast around the top. It's also going to help reinforce the where I put my ribbon in. So I'm just going to grab my glue and put some glue. It doesn't have to be like, it's just a little bit to hold it in place while I'm working on it. So a little bit, pop that back in. This has been one of the most useful things Amber's sent me. It's just, I absolutely love it. Keeps my glue nozzles nice and clear. So pop that over. I'm just going to push that down so the glue pushes into the card and give that a minute. What I tend to do actually is pop it under my scoreboard so it just holds it in place while I bring in my other piece. Again, let me just find my scoring tool. Again, making sure that I've scored the top first. So I'm just checking my orientation. So I'm going to pop that there, and I'm going to score again at 1.5 inches all the way down, and go over it a couple of times with the hoogie board and the scoring tool, because it does bend quite a lot. You don't lean too hard on it, you just go over several times, and then bringing it round, so scoring at 3 inches on all the other sides. So that's 1, working on the bottom and then working on the last side, and then I'm going to do exactly the same as I did with my first sheet, only this time I'm going to pop that to one side. So I'm going to fold that top down so we've got the contrast. I'm going to bring in my scoring tool, just make sure that that's really scored well, like that. And then I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on the inside of that so it holds it down nicely for me. It doesn't have to be tons, just a little bit. You only really want it there to hold the card in place. The first step, this step, you don't have to do. If you want a slightly deeper one and you're not fussed about having the trim at the top, then you could just score at 3, 3 and 3 on those 3 sides and leave the top open. Or if you want a narrower trim, you could do this at 1 inch. I think 1/2 inch would be a little bit too, it wouldn't really give you any effect as such and just look a bit strange. So I don't think my glue's holding there at all. It's dried so quickly, it's just not holding. So let me just put that a bit more on there. I don't know why that's happened. It's not particularly warm in the craft room. So, and this is the PVA I always use, so pop a little bit more on it than I would normally. Oops, my hand and eye coordination wasn't brilliant there, was it? But then I was going left to right rather than right to left. There we go. Hope that'll catch it this time. There we are. Okay, so that's both of them done. Now that one's worked fine, hasn't it? Look. Anyway, so once we've got to that stage, we pop that one out the way. I'm then going to just bring that across and fold on the other score lines. And the reason I do this first is because we need to reinforce that one. We've got double card there. It just folds that better than if you fold this first and then glue afterwards. That's what I think anyway. You can fold first and then glue that later if you want to, but this is just the way I do it. There we go. And then on the bottom, like that. Now the first one, I'm going to bring my scissors in and I'm going to cut along this bottom. So there's my top. Turn it that way. There's the top of my bag. I'm going to cut in along these two here, but only go to there. I'm not going any further on those score lines than that. So let me just grab my scissors. And what I'm aiming to do is remove the score line. So again, as I've often done in other videos, I'm cutting along the side of the score line, this side of the score line, and then I'm going to come back in and take out a really small wedge. I say small, it's a long and thin piece like that, and I'm going to take a tiny little sliver off this end here, just a tiny little bit. It's just going to help a little bit later on. So there's my two pieces, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. So again, there's my score line. I'm going to cut this side of my score line, going all the way down to that first interchange there where it crosses across there, and then coming on the tab, so on this side, to join it right at that bottom part. So we've got a very narrow tapered piece of card that we're taking, and then I'm doing the same this side with a very thin piece that I'm wedging out there. Okay, so that's our first piece done. So we've got those two and those two. Okay, so that's going to be the front of our bag. So I'm popping that to one side and I'm going to bring in this one. Okay, so this is the top of my bag. This is my score line, so let's reinforce those. Let's fold them over and reinforce them with my bone folder. Here's our bottom one. And because I've gone over those score lines several times in the scoreboard, they just fold really well. They just want to fold along that line. There we go. Okay, so now there's the top of my bag. What we're going to do is remove these two squares. So there's my fold, there's my other fold. I'm removing that square, and the same on this side. There's my fold, there's my fold, and this square's going. So let me just get my scissors. So again, I'm cutting along the score line, but I'm removing the score line. So I'm this side of the score line as I'm cutting down all the way to where it joins this score line here, and then I'm stopping, and I'm going to come to this side and I'm going to cut this side of the score line. So I'm removing the score line completely all the way till it joins there. So there's, we can go, and we can keep that and maybe use that for a tag or a tag later on, maybe on this bag, because that would go quite well, wouldn't it? So again, coming to this side, I'm going to remove this square and remove those score lines. So I'm cutting this side of the score line all the way till it meets that one at the bottom, and then this side, oops, this side of the score line, just to remove the score line there as well until it meets that cut that I've just made. Okay, so now what I've got is that, pop that to one side because I'm going to keep those pieces because they're not a bad size. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my other piece and I'm going to work on the inside. So my pattern is my outside, obviously. So what I'm going to do is this piece here, I'm going to glue onto this piece here, and then we've got our tabs there. So let me bring my glue in. Hopefully it'll grab this time. And I'm going to glue this piece. I'm putting my glue on this side because I don't want any glue to be running out all over the inside of the bag. So this is going to be on top of here. So hopefully we won't see any glue running out or spilling out onto other parts of the bags. Right, there we go. Hopefully that's enough. Pop that there. And now I'm just going to keep that there like that, and I'm going to butt it up to this piece here, just so as it overlaps, just so as it hits like that. And then making sure I'm lining up this crease mark here with this crease mark here. I'm then going to fold it over. I'm using wet glue, so I have got a little bit of wiggle room just in case. So first thing I'm going to do is bring this one up, make sure it's not going too far that way, and then I'm going to bring up these two tabs at the side to make sure yeah, that's fine. And then I'm going to use my bone folder and push that down, smooth it all out. Essentially what we've done is we've recreated one piece of card now because that's glued together, but our baubles on here should be facing the opposite way so that when they stand up, they're standing up the right way. You'll see in a minute when I get to it. I'm just going to flip that back. So we've already wedged these two tabs. So now let me just explain something. So this is one piece. On the outside, this is one long continuous piece. So this is the front of our bag and this is the back because we've got that join here. Okay, it's just that when we make it into a bag, we don't want to see that join along the front. Whereas if we've got it that way, we've got that one continuous pattern going on. So remembering that this side is the front, we're going to do this one last. We're going to do this one first. So I'm just going to fold those in like that while I put some glue on this side of my tabs. So just going all the way around like that. You can see where I'm putting the glue on there. So going across the middle like that as well, making sure I put plenty on because I want it to grab and stick. And I'm going to do the same on this side, all the way around. I give it a minute so that it sinks into the paper as much as it needs to enable me to glue it properly. It might need refilling actually. There's not an awful lot left in there. In fact, if I pop that to one side, I have refilled, and this is another one. I think this is Amber's creation. I have refilled this bag, this glue pot, so I'm going to use it. You won't be able to see because it's a clear one, unfortunately. So there we go. Just, yeah, it's coming out much better because the pot is full. Right, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is bring this in. So I folded them in to remind me that these go on the inside. So opening it up, and then I'm going to bring up this tab and glue it to the outside there. Don't worry, I know you can see it, but there is method in my madness. And I'm then going to do exactly the same on this side, like that. Okay, so I'm just going to use my bone folder inside so that we've got plenty of contact on that side, and then on this side like that. And I'll pop it up, and then I'm going to put glue on these two leaves here. So it's going all the way around like that, and I'm getting plenty of glue coming out, which is fabulous. So I know this is going to stick. So I will spend later filling up my PVA glue. So all the way around on here, like that. Put some down the middle, like that. I want to make sure I get the edges as well, so just going to use my fingers to encourage the glue to the edges along there and there, and again on this one, so that we get a good seam going on with these when I press them together. Okay, so wipe my hands, get that glue off. So now what I'm going to do is this now is going to go on the outside of the tab, so it's going to hide this tab. So when you look inside the bag, you've got a nice smooth finish on that edge, and then you've got this nice smooth finish on the outside edge. So I'm just going to bring that together, line it up nice and straight like that. I'm going to flip it over and do the same on this side, line it up nice and straight, and then I'm going to use my bone folder to go in and just encourage that full contact all the way down the side of the bag. And this, what happens is, because you've got two pieces of card on the sides and on the bottom, you get a really strong box, or bag should I say. You get a really strong bag for putting things in. Okay, let's flip it over and do that side again like that, and there's our bag made. So I'm just going to grab my crocodile, and I'm going to use the widest punch there. So I'm just going to bring that in, and don't want to go that far down. Let's see, how far do I want to go down? Just going to undo that and slide it so that I can't go too far. Why won't you slide? There we go. So let's see, how far in do I want to go? You want to go to about there, don't I? So let's slide that up to there, and then hold it while I do that screw up again. I keep it at this widest point for most of the time, but when I want to be a little bit more precise, don't forget you've got these on there that will give you a really nice guide for going in. So I can't go any further than I chose to go. So I'm just going to line that up there. I'm going to punch a hole there. And I'm going to do the same this side. Again, I can't go any further, so I know that these are going to be on the same line. So all I really then have to worry about is this line here, coming in at the right angle. So there we go. That's that one. Get rid of those. I'm going to flip it over and do the same on this side. There we go. Can't go any further, so I'm not having to worry about that. All I'm having to worry about is the distance there. So let's do that. Whoops. There, and further over there, like that. Let's get rid of all of those and bring in my ribbon. And all I need to do now is thread my ribbon through. So I'm going to go in that one, and in this one, and you can see this is the back of the bag, and you can see that you can just make out that seam there. So that's why this is the back. So it's worth paying attention to. So I've pulled those through. Okay, what I'm going to do is put it through so they're equal. So just making sure that those are equal there, like that. And then I'm going to knot the two ribbons so that we've got something to stop it pulling through. So there's my first knot. Drop that in the bag. And my second knot. There we go. Drop that in the bag. Pull my handles. And then do the same this side. So I do like to pinch it so that it goes through a little easier. And actually what I should do is take some notice that it says Merry Christmas there, so I want to make sure it's the right way. So if I put it through there, it will be upside down, so I'm going to pop it this way so that Merry Christmas is the right way. So it's the little things that make the biggest difference, I think, when you are putting something together, that little bit of thought. So I'm pulling those through and stand it up, join those two ends together so that I know that that's the middle. And again, just going to put a little knot there, pull that to the end, drop that in the bag, and do the same with this one. Knot there. There we go, drop that in, and there we go. We have our bag ready to go. Now let me grab my ruler and I can tell you how big the finished bag is. So that is 6 inches across by 7.5 inches deep. If you didn't want to do this, that would be 7, 8, 9 inches deep. That would be without the fold back on this piece. Or if you wanted to do the fold back at 1 inch, that would be 7, it would be 8 inches deep. Okay, well, I hope you like it. I hope you're going to give it a go. And you can do it in any size. I've done this one, which is in the 6x6 papers. So I just took the 6x6 papers and scored it in exactly the same way, except this edge I scored at 3/4 of an inch, and the sides I scored at 1.5 inch instead of the 3 inches there, and the same with the bottom. So all the way around, so 1, 2, 3 sides scored at 1.5 inches, and the top was scored at 3/4 of an inch. And then with this one, I've just pinched those in on that size, just so that my bag will close over a little bit. I might put a peg on there just to keep it closed when I put a gift in there. Not that one, maybe that one. A little peg on there, decorate that up, just to keep it closed like that. So you can use the method in any size you want. It's just about adjusting those score marks as you go along, and that will depend entirely on how deep you want your bag. You could do this project exactly the same, but only score it at 2 inches to make a slightly narrower bag, but that would result in a wider bag. So instead of being 6 inches wide, if you scored the sizes 2 inches, then this would be 8 inches wide. So it would come out, it would be that width instead. So you can make exactly the same, just different sizes. So I hope you'll have a go at it. I'm going to go and wrap a present up in tissue and pop that in, because this is going to be a gift for a very dear friend of mine. Okay guys, well, I hope you give it a go in whatever size you like, and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Bye for now.